Hey, happy Valentine's Day! And in the spirit of the season, I'm going to talk about a comic book that is kind of a romance book. Jersey Gods, Volume 1, I'd Live and I'd Die for You, by Glenn Brunswick and Dan McDade. This is the first 5 issues of the Jersey Gods series, and I wanted to like this book a lot. The premise is, if you can kind of tell from the cover, it's kind of a take on Jack Kirby's Fourth World, but leaning more in a romance direction. You can definitely see a little bit more of the Kirby vibe here on the back. And it's not being subtle about being a knockoff on the Fourth World. 2 of your main characters are very much Orion and Light Ray from the Fourth World books, and then you've got another guy who is kind of sort of Highfather, and then the bad guy kind of sort of Darkseid a little bit, and the parallels aren't 100%, but it's pretty clear that was what was influencing the creators of this book. And basically the premise is this Orion type guy on the cover, his name is, it's spelled different, but it's pronounced Barack, like Barack Obama, and apparently in the conception of this book, this was like right before Barack Obama was elected president, and they decided to keep the name, but they spelled it a little bit different. But anyway, Barack, he meets this lady Zoe, who works at a newspaper, specifically in the fashion section of the newspaper. He meets her, and then this is allegedly the story of them falling in love. And I guess I've shown my hand a little bit. I didn't like this book very much. Let me go ahead and talk about what I did like. I really like Dan McDade's art. It is evocative of Jack Kirby, but it is not going to be mistaken as, oh, hey, look at this, we found lost Jack Kirby art. It is different enough. It has a style of its own, but you can tell what they are going for with here. And I really like it. At times, I was even getting just a teeny bit of a Darwyn Cooke vibe, specifically with the character of Zoe here on the cover. She looks a whole lot like Darwyn Cooke's Carol Ferris from New Frontier, and it's not like you're going to look at this and see and say like, oh, hey, a Darwyn Cooke page. It does not look like Darwyn Cooke's art, but I was getting like 95% or maybe 90% Kirby, 5% Darwyn Cooke, and then 5% like Dan McDade, doing his own thing. But I really like the art. I think it's really good. I also think the book is pretty funny when it wants to be. In the first issue, the bad guy, he seemingly is just a one-dimensional blah, I'm evil Jack Kirby character that Thor would dispense with in one page. He shows up, and then he's talking very highfalutin like a Jack Kirby character would talk, and then some of his inner monologue is very different than what you would expect, and I thought a lot of that was really funny. So what did not work about this book? Well, for it to allegedly be a romance story, it really falls flat in trying to be a romance. So the plot is that our Darkseid type character wants to start up a war with the New Gods, the good New Gods, basically. Specifically, he has beef with our Orion guy because Orion killed the Darkseid type character's son a long time ago. So he wants to start up a war, so he sends his minion to go to Earth and start killing people, and that will attract Orion there. I'm just going to call him Orion. His name is Barack. And then he gets there, and then he meets this lady, saves her life, and then for the middle 3 issues of the book, they go their separate ways, and then he comes back to Earth to save her again from some fashion mobsters who want to sell rip-off pants at a discounted price. And then they go home, they bang, and then they're engaged. And then he doesn't plan on going back to the kingdom, wherever it is that he lives. And I feel like if you're going to write a romance story, you need to have your characters spend time together. The Thor movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not really my favorite movies from the MCU, but those movies, even Thor: The Dark World, which is in my bottom 5 MCU movies, that movie knows that you want to put your romantic leads together. You want them to spend time with each other. This book doesn't do that. Our 2 main characters, they meet briefly, and then they go their separate ways, and then she thinks about him a little bit, he thinks about her a little bit, but I don't know why these 2 like each other. I don't know a whole lot about the 2 of them. Why do they make a good couple? Why should I be excited when they're engaged at the end? I feel like, just spitballing here, what they could have done, the bad guy sees Barack save Zoe at one point, and he thinks, okay, she's important to him, so I'm going to mark her as an enemy. She needs to be killed, and that's really going to get him upset. Or he goes back and tells Darkseid, hey, he saved this one woman, she's important to him. And so Barack knows, okay, her life is in danger. I need to take her with me. We need to go into hiding. And then maybe they don't like each other when they first meet. She's a little bit shallow. We see at the very beginning she is involved with this guy, and then she tells him, you need to buy this sweater. You need to wear this sweater. It'll look really cute on you. And he breaks up with her and says, I am not your mannequin for you to dress up however you want. And she's going through her inner monologue, talking about all these different love interests that didn't work out for her. And then throughout the book, I'm starting to think, there is one common cause between all these relationships, and it's you. Because at one point, she's just sitting on a bench at the mall after he's broken up with her, and there's this guy playing his guitar, and she runs over to him and says, you need to leave. Just go away. Stop playing your stupid Christmas music. And I'm thinking, why don't you leave? Why do you have to sit here and act like he's wrong for playing his guitar? And then at the end of the book, after she and Barack are together, he goes on the news to say why he's on Earth. And she tells him, you need to be like Superman. Truth, justice, the American way. That's what you need to say. He says, no, I'm not going to do that. So he goes on the news and he says, if there's something that needs fighting, I will fight it, but I'm here for love. I'm here for this lady. And then later she says, you know what? I'll forgive you for going off script just this once. And it's kind of jokey, like they're being, bantery about it, but also I get the feeling that she's just very controlling. And so maybe, just again, getting back to what I feel like would have been a much better version of the story that they wanted to tell, these two, when they first meet, Barack says, I need to take you somewhere into hiding so that the bad guys' minions don't kill you to try to get to me. And then they don't really get along, but then as they spend more time with each other, they start to like each other a little bit more. And then by the end of this volume, you could say that she's been in hiding for several weeks, and by the end of this volume, then one of them professes their love to the other one, even though at first when you meet them, you're like, yeah, that's not going to work out. I feel like that would have worked a lot better. Since you are playing up the romance angle with this, you really need that to work, and it doesn't. Everything else I think works great. I really love the Kirby vibe of this world. It's admittedly not very different from the New Gods in the Fourth World. I think maybe they could have done a little bit more to still evoke that Kirby feeling, but not necessarily making it feel like they just traced over the Fourth World concept from DC. But I like the art. I think that at times the book is very funny, but I don't really think the romance stuff works at all, unfortunately. Just a side note, in the back, one of the creators, either Brunswick or McDade, I think Brunswick, said that he had a 3-year plan for this series, and I looked it up. There were only 12 issues total. I don't know if it was just low sales or low interest from fans. I'm not sure, but you can check out the series in 3 trade paperbacks, but I would recommend that you don't. I don't think the series is worth your time, unfortunately. And I say that as someone who really wanted to like this. So those are my thoughts on Jersey Gods Volume 1. Happy Valentine's Day. I will see you guys in the future with something else. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.